Hello and welcome to Trading Supra. In this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to locate and load each separate indicator. We'll go through each of them, what they do, and why you want to see the information that they show. And then I'm also going to show you step by step how to create a simple automated trade management strategy so that in real time your position will manage itself and you can have your stops where you want them to be. And then, of course, I'll show you how to set this up. And, of course, you can make edits to suit your personal preferences or needs. But either way, I'll give you a nice base to work off of. And so let's start with our indicators. So to access that, we just go up to Indicators, and then I'll slide my indicator window onto our screen here. You'll have a Trading Supra folder at the top of your indicators list. Go ahead and double-click on that. And we just want to load Supra Data, and so you can just double click on that and Supra Data will move down to your configured, and you don't have to actually change anything on the right hand side. So just Supra Data, Trading Supra EdgeMinder, and the same thing, you don't have to adjust anything, and then Trading Supra Pit. And then just go ahead and click OK. And now you can see the yellow candles are indicative that Supra Data is turned on. And then I'll go ahead and reduce this way down and we'll be able to see some zones. So now you can see the purple and green zones. Those are EdgeMinder support and EdgeMinder resistance. And then this large bluish green zone is our Supra Pit zone. And so we want to see these because we want to know if the market's going to break out, what is today's breakout zone, and we want to be able to trade those breakouts, and I can show you in more detail on another video how to do so. But that's the significance of Supra Pit, is it serves as, first of all, a breakout zone. Secondly, it helps us to see how the day has set itself up, which way it's leaning, so to speak. And that greatly helps us to have insight as to how we want to posture ourselves toward forthcoming support and resistance zones. And so it can help us, first of all, capitalize and really maximize when a market is cooperating. We can recognize that context quickly and we can put ourselves in a position to earn more readily. And then also it helps us to steer clear of fighting the market. You know, if the market's positioned itself to be bullish, then that obviously takes the shine off of resistances and selling those. It takes the temptation down a notch or out. And so that's the significance of Supra Pit. Similarly, Supra EdgeMinder also helps us to see if the market has, from the prior session, a support and resistance zone. First of all, those are tradable. And second of all, they give us a tremendous amount of information in addition to Supra Pit. So we can see how the day is setting up and really how we want to position ourselves when it comes to if the market revisits resistance in a down scenario, such as we see here, then it helps us to recognize that, yeah, the chances of getting at least somewhat of a push back downward once it arrives at resistance, those chances are pretty good. And then lastly, our Supra Data, I'll expand this back out. And that simply helps us to see where meaningful activity has taken place. These periods that are yellow, when meaningful activity takes place, they will shift to yellow. And so you'll see that throughout the session. And we can go ahead and I'll just wind it back, but keep it expanded so we can see. So we can see we've got some periods near our breakout zone and then again near our supports. And like I said, I'll show you in another video ways to make use of these things. But first, we have to have our indicators on, which we do. And then secondly, know what we're looking at. So hopefully this little brief introduction helps in that regard. And also we have to be in a position to capitalize on the opportunities once they do arise. And for that, you can set up an ATM strategy. And I thought it might be nice to just walk you through just a very simple but effective strategy. So I'll just click Edit, and that will reveal what I've made here, and it'll help me walk you through this. And so I just set it up for 3 contracts. Order quantity 3, good till canceled. That TIF is time in force. Parameter type is set to ticks, and as you can see, we can drop down. You can set it to all sorts of different things, currency, percentage, price, pips, etc. But I just set it to ticks. And so now for each individual quantity, and it's a quantity of total of 3, and so I've set up 3 separate targets for each contract. And so you've got a position of 3, but you're handling those 3 in different ways. And the different ways that we're handling it are set out right here. The initial stop loss is listed under stop loss. And so that the orders are not right on top of each other, I've just moved them apart by a couple of ticks. And this is just an arbitrary choice. So 38, 40, and 42, there's no secret sauce in those numbers. That's just simply going to give me enough room so that once I'm filled, I can then grab my stop and just move it to wherever I want. And in forthcoming video, you'll also see some suggestions on where I place my stops and why. But just as a starting point, the 38, 40, and 42 stop loss are just to get them on the screen, get them active, and then from there I can move them where I want. My profit objective for my first contract is 32 ticks, and that's in NQ, so that's 8 points. And so $160 on the first contract. And then under stop strategy, you can see custom. And so I'll go ahead and show you, if you want to create this, you can just select custom, and then you can select the things that I'm showing here. The profit trigger is 28 ticks. So as you can see, it's kind of dim, but 32 ticks is the profit for contract number 1, which is what I've just opened here. However, what I'm telling it to do is at a plus 28 tick move. And so I'm going for 8 points, but once it goes to plus 7, I don't want my stop to be way down at a loss anymore, wherever it is. And I don't want to have to move it manually. If it goes to plus 7, if it goes to plus 28 ticks, I'm telling it to move my stop to plus 0 is the equal to at your position price, at your fill price. And so wherever you're filled, it will move your stop to break even. And that's what this is telling, that's what you're telling Ninja to do for you. And that's it. It's very simple. So at a plus 28 ticks, move your stop to your entry. Now, if I wanted it to be 2 ticks ahead of my entry, I could just do plus 2. If I want it to be 4 ticks behind my entry, I could do plus minus 4. Okay, so I've just got it. Once it's at plus 7 points, I'm going for 8. Once it's at plus 7, I don't want a winner to become a loser anymore. I'd rather collect my 8 points, but if it's going to turn around and going to stop me out, I want to be stopped out at my entry at that point. That's what I've decided, and that's what I'm telling it to do. And so you just click OK. And now for target number 2, slightly different instructions. Target number 2, profit trigger, same, 28 ticks, only this I'm telling it to go plus 2. And so again, I just don't want my orders right on top of each other. I want them to stay separate. And so they're within a couple of ticks, and then I can move it if I want. I can do whatever I want with it. But if the market does come back, I'll pick up 2 ticks on that stop out. And then target number 3, at plus 32 ticks, I want it to go to plus 4. So now it's moved 8 points in my favor, and I at least want to collect a point. So if the market's running, then it very quickly will move that stop up to plus 4. The small target's filled, and then ka-ching, ka-ching. The orders move automatically at the speed of light. It's beautiful. And so that's it. Those are the stop strategies, and then this is the basic automated trade management strategy. And so again, total order quantity is 3. You can select whatever fits for you. I've chosen good till canceled. I've chosen a parameter of ticks. And then for each of my contracts, which are a total of 3, I've chosen separate targets. To do that, to create those, you just select add, and then it creates these fields in which you can put in whatever you select. And so I've chosen to separate all 3. My stops just vary slightly, and those are all initial stops. I typically grab those and move those as soon as I'm filled and trim the risk depending on the structure surrounding the opportunity at the time. My profit objective is always 8 points in NQ for the small profit objective. And so my second and third, those I will also move. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in a different video where we'll go over a trade and show you the example of here's where and here's when to move your targets or select your targets and how. And then lastly, the stop strategy. Again, I'll just open that up, but it is custom, but it's not super elaborate. Profit triggers at 28 ticks. Remember, the target's 32. So you're basically saying, hey, I've gotten most of what I want. And so at this point, I don't want to leave the door wide open for this to turn into a loss. And so that's what happens. It goes from plus 28. The stop then moves from wherever you put it to your entry price. And that's it. And then for the second, it goes plus 28. And then wherever you had your stop, it then move automatically. Ninja will move it to plus 2, whatever your entry is, plus 2 ticks. And then lastly, on the third contract with the larger target, this is once you've gotten to 8 points, this will move to plus 4 so that you've picked up 8. You haven't actually realized those. They're still unrealized. It's an open position. But if it's going to come back and stop you out, at least you get a point out of the deal if the position's going to, or the trade idea is going to give out. And you can save that as a template, which is what I've done. I named it NQ times 3. And so those are the indicators that you want to have loaded. And then that's just a play-by-play walkthrough of how to create the ATM strategy that will at least get you stops on the screen so that you can then move them. And it will at least get you to your stops automatically going to break even if you get a decent amount of cooperation. It will also get targets on the screen automatically so that if it is a fast-moving market, you can get paid instead of saying, oh, wow, hey, I didn't get my order there in time. And now, this winter, I don't, you've probably lived through it where, hey, I was up $180 2 seconds ago and now it's back down. I'm only up $40. What should I do? And it can take that out of it. Now, one other thing that I want to show, in addition to how to set these things up, is also how to set up hotkeys in case you want to use those. So I'm going to drag over. This is my control center. And if we go to Tools, and fourth one down, you'll see is Hotkeys. So hotkeys, this is where if you want to control certain actions just by pressing keys on your keyboard, this is what I'm going to show you right now. And this is handy, and you'll see more in just a minute. So the hotkeys window opens. We want to deal with order entry. So we drop down second from the bottom, order entry. And then you can see a couple of things that I've made here. By market, I set to F4. And so this is very simple. If you want to set a hotkey, you hover over, click to record the hotkey, you click, and then you press whatever hotkey you want. And then it will tell you, yes, that's okay, or no, it failed. And it'll tell you why. And so I just chose F4 for buy market. I chose F7 to break even, and I chose F9 for sell market. And then those little signature arrows, maybe if you've ever gotten a mortgage or any kind of important paperwork, sometimes the title office or whoever, wherever you're doing your paperwork, the car dealership maybe, they'll put little arrows where you should sign. So I bought some of those and I just stuck a green arrow on F4 and a red arrow on F9. And then F7, I have a list right in front of my, under my speaker here. And that just enables me to, as the market's trading, if I want to, let's say I get a signal here and then the market's hovering and I want to get in at the market, I can press F7 and it will initiate a position including the ATM strategy that we just built. And then we're off to the races, and it's just a matter of whether or not the trade works or not. And so I just thought I'd throw that in as well, just in case you want to set up hotkeys. It's a fairly straightforward item, and so I'll go ahead and grab it just to review it one more time. So you go to Control Center, you go to Tools, fourth one down is Hotkeys. Once you're at Hotkeys, select Order Entry. And then the orders that you want to affect, the ones that I'm showing are simply a buy market order, a sell market order, and a break-even position. So whatever stops you have, if you press F7, it will put all those stops to your entry price. And then you just hover over, click to record. Those are what I chose. And then I made like a little hotkey legend and put it under my computer speaker here so I can see it in case for some reason I forget. And then in addition to that, I just got some little signature arrows and stuck those on my keys. And that just helps me in real life, in real time under pressure, not get mixed up as to what's going on. And it helps me sometimes if I want to initiate a position very quickly without having to find any of these buttons. I can just grab my keyboard and hit the F4 or F7 or F9. One thing to realize though is the chart has to be active. So if you're looking at 4 different charts, make sure that you click on the chart in which you want to affect an order. Otherwise it will not send the order. So that's just a hotkey hot tip. And so everyone, hopefully this helps, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.